Yo, what up, dogs? I went and saw Joyride on a Sunday at 7 o'clock after work, and I made sure I got a nap in because I did not want to be dozing off like I did during Dial of Destiny, okay? So I had a nap, I was fresh, there was about 15 people in the audience, and we were having a good time. We were laughing, we were just there was some good belly laughs in there. There was people laughing at stuff that I wasn't laughing at. I was laughing at stuff that they weren't laughing at. The jokes are very diverse and not super cringy or anything like that. Like, they're just very solid jokes. And that's what I like about comedy, man. It's subjective. You're either going to like some of the things or you're not going to like some of the things. And I do think this will be a movie that I would watch again because there's probably jokes in there that I missed the first time around that I'm going to enjoy the second time around or the third time around. If I had to compare this movie to anything comedy-wise, I would definitely say Bridesmaid. Maybe you could throw in Superbad, but I'd also throw in Road Trip just because it is a road trip movie. And yeah, all around. It's just a good movie about four friends that go on an adventure. And that's what road trip is, and the trials and tribulations of friendship. It comes from Bridesmaid. And if you want to, let's throw in Crazy Rich Asian just because it really emphasizes Chinese American culture and Chinese culture, right? So there's all those elements that go on into this movie. But let's talk about the movie real quick. I'm going to keep it very light, no spoilers. So let's just get into it, all right? So the movie is directed by Adele Lim. This is her directorial debut, and she was a writer on Crazy Rich Asians. And we start the story off with two kids named Audrey and Lolo, and we see them as child, right? And they're introduced together to become best friends. And Audrey is an adopted child. She has white parents. And Lolo is, her parents are Chinese. I wouldn't say Chinese immigrants because they're Chinese Americans because they say they are from there. So they're Chinese Americans and she's a Chinese American daughter and they become best friends. And you go through their whole life, like they're like the first 5 or so, maybe 10 minutes is them like showing their childhood and how they bonded as two Asian girls going up against the world together. You know what I'm saying? Fighting through trials and tribulations of being outsiders in this world, right? In this world around them, in a sense. And then we fast forward to when they're actually adults, and we have the adult version of Audrey, who's played by Ashley Park, and she is very successful. She's a very driven person. She's a lawyer. She takes like no shit from nobody because she's always trying to prove her worth and prove herself to everyone around her, specifically her male co-workers, and they're all white guys, so there's a lot of white jokes here. So she's really trying to prove herself, and in this act of proving herself to her boss and her lawyer colleagues, I forget what you call them, but like, you know, they're like top. She wants to make the board or make the, you know, when they like change the name and they add your name to it. That's what she's pushing for. She's going for that promotion. And in this, her boss is like, I need you to go to China to close this deal. And she gets the opportunity because her boss is silly and doesn't realize like she's from America. She doesn't know the language, the Chinese language. She doesn't know the Chinese culture. She's adopted, right? So she's not really super well versed in it. And she's actually quite a relatable character to me as someone who I have indigenous heritage, but I don't know anything about it, so to speak. Like, I wasn't raised indigenously. I was raised in the white community. So she's a very relatable character to anyone who understands that being raised not within your culture, but away from it and how you navigate that. So she's a very relatable character. I like her quite a bit, actually. And her best friend is Lolo. It's Lolo, yeah. Who's played by Sherry Cola. And she's kind of like, I wouldn't say she's a bum, but she has like no drive and determination or motivation to be successful at what she's doing in life. And she is an artist who's all about sex positivity and pushing the boundaries of her art with sex and how it's all intertwined and stuff. And there's a lot of good jokes there, but they're best friends. They live together. Lolo lives in a little like tiny house in the backyard of Audrey's big house. But they're best friends and they're trying to do these things together. So when it comes to her going to China, she brings Lolo with her because Lolo is from a Chinese family and she speaks the language. I wouldn't say she speaks the language the best, but she can hold her own, that's for sure. And so together they go on an adventure to China. I think they go to Bangkok to seal the deal. And I'll be honest, I was expecting a Bangkok joke. A very low-hanging fruit joke. I was waiting for it, but it didn't happen. It didn't happen at all. So they go on the adventure to China, and when they go to China, Lolo says she's bringing her, I think her cousin, which is Deadeye. And Deadeye is played by Sabrina Wu, and she shows up at the airport, and she wasn't really invited, but because I want to say Lilu, but it's Lolo and Audrey were planning on doing this adventure together, and Lolo brought Deadeye with her. I don't know why she brought her, but she just brings her. I guess, just their family. And she is family, that's her cousin. So Deadeye is a very interesting character and a very funny character. Actually, every character in this movie is really well thought of and actually funny. They're funny characters, and Deadeye is funny. She's a very sympathetic character. She's kind of, I would say, out of the crew, she's kind of the loser / loner of the crew. She has a very antisocial life. She's more online. She has an online life. She's in her phone. She's in her own bubble. All her friends are online community, and it's very, very interesting how they write this character, because you feel very sympathetic for her when she's actually trying to become friends with Audrey. And in a few, as I mentioned, there's another character, Kat, and her navigating these waters of friendship for real friendship, interacting with real human friendship. And she's very interesting in her awkwardness on trying to become friends with Audrey and Kat, and even her cousin in a sense, that familial friendship, you know what I'm saying? And I thought she was a really cool character. I liked her quite a bit, and she is funny. There's things she does in this movie that are actually funny, but it's that awkward funny too, where she's just awkward, and that's because she's socially awkward, and I really like her quite a bit. She is actually quite funny in this. And then when they get to China, Audrey's plan was to meet up with her other best friend, who she made in college. Her name is Kat, and she's a famous actress in Chinese drama movies. And it's very interesting dynamics between the two best friends, right? This is why I mentioned Bridesmaids. So you have the best friend of Lolo, who's been her childhood best friend forever, and then you have Kat, who's actually her best friend from Audrey's best friend from college onwards, right? So there's two best friends from two different worlds, and it's actually Audrey from two different worlds too, right? College is her becoming a professional, and her life before that with Lolo is her childhood friendship, right? So there's an interesting dynamic between these characters that is brewing. And Kat, like I said, she's an actress, but she's very high of herself. She's very kind of stuck up, but she's also a sex addict, which is kind of funny. And she's being abstinent from sex because she's in love with, what's his name? Clarence, who's played by Desmond. I wrote his name down. Desmond Chiam? I hope I pronounced his name correctly. And he's an actor on the Chinese drama shows as well. And he's a virgin, and he's trying to save himself for marriage. And there's a dynamic between the two where she's starved for it. And it plays out throughout the movie, of course. A lot of great jokes between these characters. There's so many good sequences for jokes that are set up. There's... Man, I don't want to ruin it because there's some really solid jokes in here. But when the four of them get together, that's kind of when you're you could almost say gets into Hangover territory, but I want to, there's so many movie references. When it comes to comedies, there's so many references or inspirations that you can draw from in this, that you're used to it. You know what these are. The story is not anything new. This is a story that we've known, that's been told over time and time again, but it's just in a different scenario with different characters. And in this instance, so when they get to China and they have the whole crew together, because the other reason why she wants Kat to come along, Audrey, is Kat can speak like fluent Chinese to help with Lolo's kind of street Chinese, you know what I'm saying? So all of them go to the bar together to meet up with, I didn't write his name down, but the business, the Chinese business that they're trying to sign up with the law firm, that they want to represent this business from China. And so they have a very big party scene. And it turns out that throughout the party, which is a good sequence, the character, I cannot remember his name right now. Dang it. I wish I wrote it down. But he has a heart-to-heart moment with Audrey and says, like, who are you, right? Because family's very important to him and to Chinese culture. And she said, like, oh, I'm adopted, but I'm here to see my mom. And she's not there to see her mom. She's there purely for business. And he's like, I don't want to do business with anyone that they don't know their family, and they don't know who they really are, where they came from, and all that jazz. And so the plot now becomes she has to find her mom, rekindle her relationship with her mom, and seal the business deal, you know what I'm saying? So, and they have until Saturday. So now that it's a whole new adventure where they go traveling across the Chinese landscape to find her mother, but they got to go to the adoption agency, right? And it's all the trials and tribulations along the way for this are absolutely hilarious. And when they find out who she really is, Audrey that is, it is a big twist. It's actually quite a cool twist because, and I almost thought they wrote it this way because in my mind, I'm like, I wonder if they wrote this where they're like, no one's going to think that she's not Chinese. You know what I'm saying? That's what I was thinking the whole time because I was on board. Like, they're giving me these characters and I never once thought about the actress's actual ethnicity or anything like that at all. And so as we're going along, it was like revealed to you that she's not who she is. I'm not going to dang it, it's a spoiler. Oh, it's a spoiler. I'm sorry to explain this part. Okay, I'm not. It's not a spoiler. I'm not saying it. But she finds out some information and it leads to a whole new thing, and it's wild. It's a wild sequence where I'm like, you guys got me there. And it was smart. To me, I thought it was smart. I thought it was a smart play. But I'm sure some of you guys would be like, Brett, that was obvious. So as this happens, she actually does have a falling out with her friends, which is classic like Bridesmaids, right? Best friends pitted against each other. They say some things. Things are misconstrued. They're brokenhearted, and they have a fallout. And during this fallout, Audrey finds out more about her real birth mother. And there's a very, very sad sequence in this film that you might cry. I don't know if you'll cry, but I almost got me. I was like, damn, that's emotional. So there is a good emotional part in this movie. And then the ending happens, everyone's friends. It ends on a good note. It ends on a very happy, positive note. Like everyone who felt the sting and barbs of those words that were said, learned from them and became better people in the end. And at the end of it all, everyone reconciles, and yeah, it's great. It's good. It's a great movie. It's a great movie. You know what? It's a great movie. I'm giving it a great. I know I said it was good before. We're bumping it up to great. It is a great movie. And there's some great scenes in this, man. I'm telling you, push the R rating. There is definitely full frontal waist down shot, which is, it is hilarious. There's a couple hilarious sequences when they did with that too. And there's just, you know what? It's just a good comedy. It has some raunchiness in it. And I think it's pretty great. I think it'll hold the test of time too. And I honestly believe that you should go see this with your friends. Bring your crew, get out there, go and see the film. If you don't, you know what? I'm telling you, girls' night, boys' night at home, whatever, get the crew out and watch it when it comes out on streaming, or buy it, put it into your collection. I'm going to get it as soon as it comes out. That's going into the collection for sure. Yeah, I really enjoyed this film. It's a great. It has the potential to be a great comedy. Like, I have Bridesmaids right here. That's sitting right there. I watch that movie like almost once a year, maybe even twice a year, because it's just so damn funny, and I love all the characters in it. And I think Joyride has the potential to be like that, where I will watch it at least once a year. So I'm looking forward to owning it in my collection. It's a great movie. It's a great movie. It's like, it's not perfect. It's not perfect. It's not an excellent movie, but it's great. It's great. It's probably right up there with The Machine this year out of comedies. It's probably 1 and 2. Machine, Joyride, and then No Hard Feelings, if I had to put it in order for comedies I've seen right now. Anyways, I gotta go. The next movie I'm gonna see is Mission Impossible. Then after that is Oppenheimer. And then after that is Barbie. So that's what I got on the slate to come. I hope you guys all have a good week. And whatever you're watching, I hope you're enjoying it. I'm out of here. I gotta go to work. That's my life, guys. I gotta go. Peace out, everyone. Bye.